I was myself under the misconception that coding would be a basic requirement for you to crack the product manager role. But I was extremely relieved to find out that coding is not at all a requirement. Like I myself have very little understanding of, the basics of coding and other things, but I was able to crack the role.
For the past year at Inside IIM, we have been conducting one-on-one career coaching sessions as counsel, short domain-specific courses as masterclasses, and university-affiliated certificate programs. Now, we are extremely excited to announce that we have a new home for all these highly rated programs in altuni.in. So, if you are looking to earn a high salary, get a promotion, switch jobs, click on the link in the description or just visit altuni.in. Thank you, enjoy the video, and don't forget to press the bell icon to never miss an update. Cheers.
About myself, I was born and raised in Hyderabad, and currently I've been living in Bangalore for the past 2 years. So, ever since I was a child, it was sort of clear to me that I wanted to target IIT. And back in the day when I had given my JEE advanced exam, I was able to secure a good enough rank to make it to the top preference, which was mechanical engineering at IIT Bombay. And 4 years later, I graduated 2 months ago with a degree in mechanical engineering. And I've been part of the Flipkart Associate Product Manager program ever since, where I'm working for the groceries product team. Basically, Flipkart had come to our college as part of their placement drive to sort of inform students about product management. And before going into that workshop, I was aware that product management is gaining a lot of traction in the Indian tech space in the recent years. And I knew that a lot of people were trying to get into product management. So I was very curious to find out what product management is all about. And in that workshop, and after that workshop, through reading on my own, I was able to come up with a basic idea of what product management is. So, as I mentioned before, I had 3 internship experiences, two in the manufacturing industry side, one in the automobile industry, and one in the pharmaceutical industry. And my third internship was more around market analysis for facilitating the competitor, for facilitating the market entry of one of the European products that the company had into our country. So the key learnings across all these internships has been how to deal with people. Like how do you talk to people who are wired in a different way than you are without, creating any friction. So that is one of the key learnings that I had across all these internships. And of course, I had subject related learning in each of the internships. So I'm part of the growth charter in the groceries product team. And basically, I'll be focusing on growth hacking. So growth hacking is like coming up with experiments and quickly making changes on your product and then seeing if it works or not. And that comes from a place of deep user insight. If you're aware of the sort of problems the user faces throughout the journey of making a grocery order, you'll be better able to come up with growth hacks and sort of affect variables in either user acquisition, retention, or monetization. My key focus is on improving the average order value and improving value perception. So, our groceries platform is basically a value player where we try to offer the best deals and the best value for money to all of our customers. And we want to sort of drive the point home that Flipkart is the place for getting the best value, and that comes under value perception. So all sort of growth hacks, making UI changes, adding small features, removing certain features, changing the user flow, all of these will be targeted towards increasing value perception of our platform. The second aspect is called average order value. So when it comes to average order value, we want customers to buy more in a single transaction so that it makes sense for us from a supply chain side. And we are constantly innovating to increase these numbers. I was myself under the misconception that coding would be a basic requirement for you to crack the product manager role. But I was extremely relieved to find out that coding is not at all a requirement. Like I myself have very little understanding of, the basics of coding and other things, but I was able to crack the role. So it goes to show that a basic technical understanding and curiosity of how technology works is what they look for in candidates. And if you have coding skills, then obviously it is an added benefit. But not having it is definitely uh, not a problem for your chances of making it to the product manager role. So I had divided it into three buckets. The first bucket was understanding what product management actually is. So I spent a lot of time watching videos online and reading books to sort of understand what product management is all about and to develop a good understanding of the skill sets that are tested. So in the process of doing this, I realized that the main skill sets that are tested are your problem solving skills, your product thinking skills, your technical understanding skills, and of course, because of the highly cross functional nature, your communication skills also come into play. So I was able to then focus my preparation around improving these four skills. Coming to the second part, the APM programs in various companies in general do not look at your resume or they do not look at your marks for shortlisting people for the final interview. Instead, what they do is they roll out a case study, sort of like a case study competition, where you have to solve a problem statement that they are talking about in the form of a slide deck. And based on the quality of the slide deck, you will be shortlisted for the final interviews. So the second part of my preparation was focused around preparing a good slide deck, uh, understanding elements of design, how to make your slide deck appealing, how to make it readable, and obviously focusing on the problem statement, which might be unique for company to company. Then comes the third part, as you mentioned, the case interview part. Basically, case interviews, for those people who don't know, it is a conversation between you and the interviewer where both of you are trying to solve a problem statement where you will be driving the conversation. So that is the fundamentals of a case interview. So there are a certain list of books that are considered to be sort of the Bible when it comes to product management preparation. You have Cracking the PM Interview by Gail McDowell. You have Design of Everyday Things by Dan Norman. And you have Decode and Conquer. And also there are a certain books which are very Indian product management related. One such book is called Preparing for Product Interviews. It was actually written by one of the APMs at Flipkart itself, and it gives you a good context of how the product management hiring happens in an Indian context. And apart from that, on YouTube, I saw a lot of videos related to system design, which is basically to get an understanding of what happens in the back end of various popular technologies that we use, like the one which I mentioned, WhatsApp, or if you do a Google search, what happens in the background, because of which you're able to get all the results in a matter of few microseconds. And these are some of the things that I refer to. I had a learning curve throughout the interview process. The mistakes that I made in my first interview, I was consciously aware of, and I made sure that I did not repeat it in the subsequent rounds. One suggestion from my side would be to be very frank and accept things that you don't know. They're not expecting you to be a know-it-all. So if you're not sure of something, you can frankly communicate that to the interviewer. I think that is a very good quality to have. Secondly, you have to be very concise and clear with your thoughts. You have to think out loud and involve the interviewer in the process. You cannot work in a separate silo and then just blurt out the results to the interviewer. That will be very disengaging for the interviewer and it will generate a bad impression. So, a good thing to do is have the interviewer involved in your thought process, tell them what you're thinking, tell them where you're going wrong, and be very verbal about your communication. And the last tip that I would like to suggest is do not directly jump to the solution aspect of things. You need to understand the problem first. And most case studies are built around tricking the students into directly jumping into the solution part. So take a step back, ask relevant questions, and then proceed in a logical manner. Like, these would be my three do's for an interview. There are a huge number of startups that are being born, and in any startup, product manager would be an essential part of the team. So I feel that in the coming years, both awareness and opportunities for students across the country will increase. And that is a sort of a good news when it comes to product management enthusiasts. And apart from that, I think LinkedIn is a great resource to sort of contact these startups and try to get a product manager internship, which will sort of set you apart when you're applying for product manager roles if you already have some prior experience. This same question I had asked one of my seniors before, starting to use LinkedIn on a regular basis, and his advice to me was, you are supposed to be shameless, if I may use that word. you are supposed to be shameless and send as many messages as you can to as many people, because you will get an opportunity only if you ask for it. And that is how I got one of my three internships. So I had performed three internships in my campus life, two of which were from the campus placement side, and one of them I had got through LinkedIn. So for that, I had messaged a lot of companies, a lot of HRs, and most of the time I was faced with rejection where either I never received a reply, or even if I received a reply, it was, a negative sort of an implication. But yeah, one of the replies happened to be positive, and I got an interview call, after which I was able to secure the internship. So the thing here is, it is a vicious cycle, right? You need work experience to later get work experience. So for the person who's just starting out, it will be very problematic, because to get that first work experience, they already expect you to have previous prior work experience. So one way you can stand out is if you can do relevant courses on whatever topic that you are chasing. I think that is definitely something that helped me. So instead of, if you're targeting product management roles, instead of directly taking up product management courses, my recommendation would be to sort of iron out the skills that are required to be a good product manager, and then focus on those individual skills separately. As engineers, most of us are great problem solvers, because of which all these companies approach engineering campuses for their candidates. So that aspect is already good. You can just polish upon that. And then coming to the technical understanding side of things, you just have to be curious. You have to read all articles online about new technologies that are popping up. You have to sort of be curious about all the technology elements in your own life. Like, for example, if you're using WhatsApp, if you send a message, then how does the receiver get that message? And 2 seconds later, you get a double tick on your phone. And a second later, you get a blue double tick on your phone. So you have to be curious about how these things work. And that will sort of get you set. So coming back, circling to your question, I feel there is no one particular course that you can target to get good at product management. Instead, you should focus on the individual skills that make you a good product manager. In my experience as part of the placement cell, I was able to witness the placement process for the seniors when I was in my third year itself. This sort of induced a very good perspective in me, and basically I was able to realize that the first job doesn't matter as much as we give it importance. Of course it is important, but it is not a do or die situation. If you are not able to crack your first job, your first dream job, it is okay. You will land on your feet. Just keep working hard and just pursue your dreams. That is sort of the mentality I had, because of which I was calm during my placement season. And in general, for any challenge, it helps if you're calm and collected. And that would be one advice I would like to give the students. And the second thing is, uh, if possible, if you could have a good focus on your academics as well, apart from maintaining a balance between all the other co-curricular activities, it will open up a lot more opportunities for you. So that would be another advice that I would give students.